Hello and welcome back to another episode of You Want to Do What. Today we've got Liam Quirk on. He's an SEO specialist working at Quirky Digital. Hi Liam.
Hi Daniel, hi guys, good to meet you.
Good to meet you, mate. Liam, should we jump straight in? And do you want to tell everyone a bit about what you do?
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, my name's Liam. I run a company called Quirky Digital, amongst some other brands, and yeah, we are an SEO company. So we help businesses get to the top of Google by following Google's guidelines, which don't necessarily always agree with. But yeah, that's what we do.
So where did this all begin then? Why SEO? I mean, I think many people have heard of SEO, but why for you? Why did you get into it?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a crazy story, to be honest. Well, it sounds crazy to me anyway. So I actually had a family member working in the industry. He's worked in it probably since the beginning. He used to show me little things he used to do, and how he got websites to the top of Google. Didn't really think much of it. And then when it got to probably 15 or 16, when I was in high school, got to a point where you actually sit down with a careers advisor and work out what you want to do, what direction you want to go down. I always knew I wanted to get into IT of some sort. I was interested in computers from a very early age, and I was always messing about with them, trying to make them better. And then it got to a point where, started doing job searching, and my initial thought was I wanted to actually go into the army and do IT, which I think my mum convinced me not to do it. Yeah, and said, "Is there anything else out there?" So I actually sat down with this careers advisor in school and was looking at various different roles, and obviously SEO come up, and it was something which, subconsciously I knew about it. And when I looked into the job descriptions, yeah, I went ahead and applied for it, which was, I actually applied for an apprenticeship while I was still in high school. So this was before I actually done my GCSEs. And so I applied with predicted grades. And my predicted grades are much better than what I actually got in the end. So I ended up qualifying for an apprenticeship, which when I actually got to get my results, I didn't have results to actually get me through the course, so I had to go on and do foundational skills, all that type of stuff. So I actually started off working with an e-commerce brand and basically just doing all the grunt work. So uploading product descriptions, resizing images, making banners for social media, all the type of stuff that I'd probably outsource now, to be honest. Yeah.
Mm. So before we get into actually what it involves and what your daily job is like, let's get your perspective on that apprenticeship versus, say, going to university and doing maybe a marketing degree that focuses on SEO or something like that. Do you value not having gone to university and got that work experience early doors?
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I'm personally really glad I went away and got working experience. I think in the industry changes so quickly. It is mental. I mean, the stuff that I teach members of staff maybe 6 months ago that probably isn't applicable now. So I'm quite glad with, the route that I went down. And there's definitely, when I interview people, I look more for examples of websites they've ranked on Google as opposed to what people's actual academic background is. But then again, I mean, I've got members of staff that do content writing, they've got degrees in journalism, English literature, and for them types of roles, I think that is really important. So with SEO, it's, there are lots of different activities which are carried out, and I think that if someone's primarily wants to go down the SEO route and be a technical SEO or be a link building expert, then the only real way of getting an education in it is by building your own websites, or either building your own website or getting an apprenticeship where you are learning from, more experienced professionals.
So let's break SEO down. What kind of things are actually involved in it? We all hear the term, we kind of understand that you have to do SEO to rank on Google, but what does the industry actually involve?
Okay, so yeah, most businesses in our space they'll work off 3 different elements of SEO. So it'll be content. So it'll be, producing blog posts, service pages on people's websites. If it's an e-commerce website, it'll be product descriptions, category pages. So it'll be producing that type of content that's optimized for Google and that's really engaging for the user. Then the other side of it is you've got link building, which, not every SEO will think it's that important, but if you are a small to medium-sized business, you need link building in order for Google to trust your website. And that involves, you see the term digital PR being banded out quite a lot across LinkedIn. And it's essentially creating, linkable content, engaging content, which people actually want to talk about on their own website. So that's another side of it. And the third part is probably the most difficult part. It's very, I've learned it's been very hard to scale as I've grew my business, and it's the technical aspect of SEO. So that's, what goes on behind the scenes, what you don't see on the website. So it's the code, it's the way the code's been written. It's how different pages engage with each other in the background of the site. It's how quickly the website loads. So they're the 3 elements of SEO, and they're the 3 pieces of SEO that we pitch to our clients.
So would somebody look to become a specialist in either of those specific parts, or do you become sort of rounded by learning all those parts of it?
Well, yeah, it completely depends. Me personally, I've become quite rounded in technical SEO and link building, but I can hardly write a sentence without grammarly picking up loads of errors. So from a content point of view, I'm pretty useless. I'm quite lucky I've got a team that specialise in it, but for me, the best SEO would probably have niche down into a certain area of it. So, they either are really good at the technical side or they are good at link building. People who are good at link building are typically just, really good marketers in general, in my opinion. Then whereas technical people, they might come from a web development background and they understand how code has been written. And then obviously people who write content, it's a case of that a lot of time they come from that journalism background, English literature background. There are very few SEO people I know that are good at all 3 things. To be honest, I'm yet to meet somebody that's good at all 3 things.
Yeah, jack of all, master of none, I guess. You don't really want that, I suppose, if you want to try and specialize. But for trying to get things to the top of Google, is it quite a fluid sort of job, in the fact that the only thing I can sort of relate it to is social media, where they change their algorithms and it can sort of destroy people's careers. But is Google changing the way and updating the way they want things to be at the top, and therefore you've got to then adapt and update what you've done?
Exactly, yeah. Nowadays, changes do happen, but compared to maybe 8 to 10 years ago when I started off in the industry, there were them algorithm updates that were brought out that generally did. They should wipe some businesses out. So the way SEO was done got completely switched up. Whereas now a lot of people rely on tools. There are the tools out there like SEMrush, Ahrefs, Surfer SEO. These types of tools kind of make you aware of what everybody else is doing, so you don't really get too carried away with your strategy and go, too far down a certain path. So obviously there are lots of algorithm updates being rolled out, but if you're covering all bases of your SEO and you aren't doing anything too shady, you should be all right. And you're not going to wake up one morning and all your income's disappeared. If that happens, then you've probably done something seriously wrong.
What kind of skill sets does somebody really need to achieve in this industry? Is it attention to detail? Is it creativity? Like, what kind of skill sets do people really need?
Yeah, so I'll probably break it down into obviously the 3 different areas that I mentioned earlier. So if you're a technical SEO or you're a content writer, attention to detail is massive. Yeah, it is massive. You've got to be very picky in particular with everything that you're doing. I mean, me personally, what's probably got me so far in the industry, to be honest, a lot of people in a similar position to myself, where they might run an agency where they've got staff working for them. It's probably question. I mean, the thing probably taught me so far is questioning everything. Like literally, like why's Google put this white paper out about how to, what to do and what not to do? It is questioning out everything that they say. It's looking at your competitors' website who are ranking at the top of Google and understanding why they're there. And it's being able to go away and conduct research and then actually action it. And I think for me that mindset of being able to question everything, I think that's the most important thing for somebody who's well-rounded. But going back to obviously the different areas of SEO, obviously content writers, if you've naturally got to be creative, you've got to think outside the box. If you do a Google search now for pretty much any how-to question, there'll be like the first and second results will be, it'll be really good and informative pieces of content. Typically anything below that will all look pretty much the same. And it's, if you've got an authoritative website, you can get yourself on the first page by just pretty much copying what other people have been doing and changing the words up a little bit. But how content writers really excel is how you make it engaging, how you make it creative, and how you put your own spin on it, put your client's spin on it. And I think that's the key with content writing. And then obviously with link building, it's probably being able to create stories out of nothing. And I think that's, I don't know how I'd give that a name as a skill, but I think that's what you've got to be really good at.
Mm. So if anyone's listening to this and they're like, I'd love to get into SEO, is there any advice for them, whether it be something they can learn, something they can read, maybe watch YouTube videos? There's a ton of free resources for a lot of industries out there. And I just wondered if there's anything people can do for SEO.
Yeah, so what I would always recommend is if someone's looking to get into SEO, and speaking from an employer's point of view, is, build your own websites. Like learn how to build. There are YouTube videos out there. You can probably learn how to build. If you know how to use a computer, you can learn how to build a WordPress website in a couple of hours. Build your own website and go away. Look at YouTube. There are loads of resources out there. I mean, someone I'm personally quite big on with his content is a guy called Craig Campbell. His content is amazing, and he's got beginner content, intermediate content, advanced content. There's strategies on there that you can then go away, implement on your own website. It's stuff you can pretty much do with a very small budget. Go away, implement that on your own website, and use that as a case study. And I mean, it's what I used to do while I was working at other agencies. If I had, when you're working on client websites, you're very limited with what you can do. But in my spare time, I would build my own websites, and I'd test stuff on their websites rather than testing it on client websites where they give us a budget. And if we messed up on a client's website, then it would have a serious impact on their business and potentially the relationship between my employer at the time and that business. But if I was implemented on obviously my own website, I could pretty much do whatever I want and really push the boundaries. So that's, if I was recruiting for somebody now to join the business and they had no experience, it would be, what have you done in your own time to learn about it? And what would make someone stand out would be actually having their own website. Whether they've done a good job of ranking them or not, it's it's a good factor. Yeah, definitely.
That's really interesting because we talk about this a ton on the podcast, and it's CVs, traditional A4 versus maybe something like a LinkedIn profile, personal brand. Coming from someone in your position where you maybe look to hire somebody who's got a LinkedIn profile and a portfolio of websites or whatever, looks 100 times better than just somebody sending you a CV, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you've touched on it there with the personal brand as well. That's one thing that I probably jumped on quite late. So I've got quite a lot of experience in the industry, but I've only really started to build my personal brand since the start of the business 2 years ago. But then now I come across people who maybe they've got less experience than me, but they're absolutely killing it on LinkedIn, and they can probably walk into any job in the industry that they want because they've built up that following. It's really impressive. I mean, as I said, it's probably a different kind of marketing, building in your personal brand. But I think anybody who's getting started in marketing in general, I think that's the best thing you can do is build your personal brand and build up your own portfolio.
We've met so many people through the podcast in marketing, and a lot of them actually are from the LinkedIn community, and the opportunities that they've got just through posting on LinkedIn. And you don't have to be an expert. You can just post your opinions or something you're doing, or I read this on SEO, or I've read this take on SEO. What do you think? And you will literally over a year or 2 years build a personal brand, and like say, probably be able to walk into any job you want because companies will want you. They'll want your audience. And I think that's the future, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's crazy. LinkedIn, it's probably Facebook 10 years ago where you could post stuff and get crazy organic reach. I don't know how long it is going to last, but it's been going on quite a while now. I mean, when I first started the business and I barely had a following on LinkedIn, I probably had less than 1,000 followers, and obviously I've got quite a lot more now. I mean, I picked up my first my first inbound clients was actually, I posted a picture of, it was literally, I used to live in my mum's house at the time, and I was just in a box room, and I posted a photo of my desk, and it was pretty much me just saying, when I always knew I wanted to start a business, but I imagined it being a big fancy office. But, I'm sat here in my mum's box room, took a photo of this tiny desk. Someone picked up the phone to me pretty much right away and said, literally, he just resonated with it. And I signed up as I think it was my third client, but it was the first client that ever come directly to me. And it was just basically from someone just relating to a piece of content. They didn't necessarily know if I was any good at SEO, but they obviously bought into me as a person just off some type of post. And now if you look at my content, it's obviously a lot more, proven SEO skills, proven that obviously the concept of our strategies work. But every now and again, I will throw a post in there that is a lot more personal, and someone might not even message me, but I might meet them at an event which is local, and they'll say, "Oh, I've seen that piece of content. That was really good," and they didn't really engage with it, but they remembered something, and they remember you because of it. And I think it's so important.
Definitely. And for you, what's been the biggest positive you've taken away from working in the industry so far?
Okay. Obviously, aside from, I've built a business which, personally, the thing that makes me proudest is that, I employ 6 members of staff that are all local to me, and I've given 6 people opportunities that where I think I've not recruited anyone with more than 2 years worth of experience, with people who are all relatively new to the industry. So having the ability to do that, and just, the pride it fills me with, that's the thing that, makes me happiest. But actually being an SEO, the thing that makes me most happy about it is the ability to be able to travel and work from anywhere. I think that, I've always been passionate about traveling. So I know that I could, I'm planning a trip for the end of the year where I'm going to go to Thailand, and I'm going to work there, and I'm going to have absolutely no issues with it. I'm going to be able to work as normal and enjoy myself. And I think that that's what I love most about the industry.
That's so good. Yeah. Wish I could do that. On the flip side of that, though, what would be some of the negatives or the less favorable aspects of this industry?
Okay. Actually, SEO is an industry. Probably the most difficult thing about it is when you're actually trying to sell it to people that have used SEO services before. So there are just so many cowboys out there, it's ridiculous. There are people that will say they can do it and they've never actually done it before and they can't actually prove it. And I think that's the most difficult thing, is there are a lot of people that have been ripped off, and it makes it very difficult to convince people that, I know I could do a good job for them. It becomes very difficult, and a lot of people don't see that the value in it anymore because of the previous experiences that they've had. And ultimately that's because, although it's worked in my favour, it's because there's such a low barrier to entry. And I think that's probably the most negative thing about it. There isn't actually any real formal qualification that you can get, or there's no actual standard that people have got to abide to. And I think that allows for pretty much anyone to get into the industry. But again, I think there being no actual real standard, or you don't have to spend thousands of pounds to get into the industry. It makes it a lot more accessible for people, and so it swings and roundabouts really.
For those sort of clients that you have that maybe have been burnt in the past, and then you obviously do a decent job on it, is it quite noticeable for them? Is it quite a big change that they can be like, oh God, this is night and day to what we had before?
Yeah. I mean, it is a nice feeling. I mean, I struggle to convert them types of clients. I mean, we've had a few where they've been burnt before and then we've done a good job for them. But me personally, I struggle to convert them, typically because, from a price point of view, in the area that we're based, we're probably at the higher level of actual budgets that people would need to actually do SEO. So when if we pitch a service to somebody and it might be £3,000 a month, and they've paid £1,000 a month previously, and people have done a rubbish job, we're not going to convert it. It is very difficult. But when we've done it in the past, where we have worked with people that have had bad experiences, they have been really thankful for it, and it is good. And they're the type of people that will they will refer you into their network and say, you've done a really good job, way better than the previous company. But as I said, it does make things more difficult.
And how about progression in the industry? So once you're in, once you're learning, once you're going, I guess it's one of those industries where you're constantly having to keep yourself updated. But as far as progression goes and sort of climbing the ladder and getting higher positions, what does that look like for someone in SEO? Is it just mastering more of the aspects we talked about earlier, or how does it work?
Yeah, so I mean, how I personally done it was purely through, to be honest, it was working hard, and it was in my own time actually learning new things and testing stuff on my own websites. So it was the stuff that I used to do in the evenings rather than going home. At the time, because I was quite young at this point, so a lot of my mates were playing FIFA in the evenings, and I was going away and just building these websites and just testing these different strategies. So I'd go into the office on Monday and say, right, let's try this. And that obviously made me stand out against other members of the team, because I was actually coming to the table with ideas and new strategies, as opposed to following strategies that were already in place. So, but to be honest, I think that, any aspect of marketing, whether it's SEO, social media, email marketing, paid advertising, PR, the thing that's going to take you to that next level is actually coming to the table with new stuff. You're only going to do that by, working away in the background, in my opinion.
And would you still go into the industry knowing everything you know now?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult for me to say because I've not actually ever done anything else. So, I think the opportunities it's provided me with, it is. I don't think I'd change my career path for the world. It feels weird saying that. I'm just really into marketing. Yeah, I think that, if you was to say to, the 16-year-old me when I started that apprenticeship, that I'd still be in the industry now, I'd probably laughed at you, because I just wanted to try different things at that point. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird how it works out.
Well, Liam, thank you so much for coming on and having your chat. We adore chatting to people like you. Really driven, obviously, absolutely adore what you do. You've built a business, you're employing people. It's really, really cool. So thank you so much for your time.
Cheers, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Where can people find you, find your business, see what you're up to?
Yeah, so if you go on, main place, LinkedIn. So if you just type in my name, Liam Quirk, you'll find it there, or on Instagram. So it's @Quirky SEO. So yeah, they're the main places. And obviously we've got our website, quirkydigital.com as well. But I suppose that's more for other businesses because we're just trying to pitch your stuff there.
Brilliant. Well, thank you again, Liam.
Cheers, mate. That's brilliant. Thank you.